Hello and welcome back to From the Be-All End. I'm Simon Evans, and with me is Paul Woodhouse and Justin Connolly. Three bald heads here, none of them with Mikhail Gorbachev designs on them at all. Everyone's been keeping safe and sound, it seems, but good to have you back, gents. We're going to have a little look back on Sean Dyche's exclusive interview with From the Be-All End and some reaction to that before we get into the big transfer signing, Jakob Bruun Larsen back at the club, and also the ongoing James Trafford saga and rumours about a shake-up in the cricket fields, Dan. So plenty to talk about. But let's start off. Justin, what did you make of that? Quite a coup for the pod to have Sean Dyche on. What did you make of what he had to say?
I quite enjoyed listening to it. I think he's always pretty good value for money. I mean, there were a few things I'd not heard about in there, but I think most of the stuff that he talks about is stuff that he's talked about quite regularly. I think he's always a little bit unnecessarily sort of defensive about the accusations that Burnley under his regime were like this sort of nasty anti-football sort of thing. I think that's totally irrelevant. I don't know why he has to go on about that all the time, because his record speaks for itself, doesn't it? You know, he did what he achieved, what he did. It's all in the history books now, and you know the fans at Burnley loved him for it. I don't think it's necessary to keep going on about how. I mean, I'm not sure it was even all that true for much of the time. I mean, Sean Dyche's best sides played some. Yeah. Sean Dyche's best sides played some decent football, didn't they? You know,
they did.
So yeah, but I think so. I mean, it wasn't all long ball stuff, was it? I mean, he said in that interview, the stats don't really bear out that as being true. I mean, I know we didn't have the ball very much, but I think there was some. We played some nice stuff from time to time. I don't think he has to be ashamed about it, because that framework that you put together to get enough points to stay in the league all those seasons. Most clubs would bat your hand off at that, wouldn't they? I don't understand why anybody would complain about it, but I mean, I understand that a lot of it wasn't that good to watch. But we've had that last season as well, haven't we? You sort of forget about those games and concentrate on the ones that were really good.
Which he did note, didn't he? He noted that Scott Parker got a bit of the same sort of criticism. But I know what you mean. Greavesy gave him a very fulsome introduction, and then he immediately said, but it wasn't good enough, and it wasn't pretty enough, exactly. and straight into that. I mean, I do wonder sometimes, Woody, if he is a bit oversensitive to that. He had a chance at Everton to maybe do something a bit different, but found himself with his back against the wall there as well. Is he typecast now, do you think?
I suppose he is, and it's a weird one, in so much the fact that he was somebody who wasn't necessarily that forthcoming as a manager, and then on his after dinner tour from leaving management, he's forever popping around and giving us this kind of a spiel about he wasn't this kind of a manager, he wasn't that kind of a manager, and I don't know why he necessarily has to be quite as defensive with, especially a Burnley pod, as he was, because we understand what he is and what he's about, and it's still the first pod I've watched of ours out of 972. You know what I mean? But,
yeah.
I thought it was a really great. I really enjoyed editing it and watching all of it. I thought it was great, and I thought the lads did a good job of letting him talk, really, because I've never edited a podcast on this podcast where like over 90% of the audio content was from one person, and he was very comfortable. He can talk, but I do sometimes fear that, like, when he talks about going into media work and so on, are the media looking for him to be that sort of grumpy caricature of himself almost, the meme that goes around about utter woke nonsense, which he's never ever said, obviously, and which doesn't reflect who he is at all, I don't think. But I almost feel like, Justin, that he a little bit plays up to that.
Yeah, I'm sure he does. I mean, he has a character, doesn't he? And he is he just seemed like quite a sort of strong personality, and you do wonder whether there's definitely an element of him playing up to that sort of reputation that he's got. I mean, he's got the voice for a start, hasn't he? That sort of gravelly sort of delivery, which is, really, really sort of quite distinctive. And that he did a little bit of that, didn't he? A little bit of like modern football is rubbish. So, what about winning games rather than like passing it, fannying about with it at the back, and all that sort of stuff. He did a little bit of that, but then he went on to say, that stuff about the stats I thought was quite interesting when he says that actually, if you look at the stats, the game doesn't change that much that quickly, which surprised me because I thought that when we went back into the Premier League the last time, the game seemed almost a different sport to the one we'd left when we were in it a year before that.
It did feel that.
It seemed to, the level seemed to go up quite dramatically, but he reckoned not, didn't he? He sort of said there's sort of 5-year spells where it sort of slowly changes, like there's a lot of short passes now and a lot of short sprints now, but really over time it doesn't really change that much, which I don't know whether that's, I mean, he would know, wouldn't it? But so has it changed that much? I've seen a lot of comments about him being, a man out of time now. He's not, he's not with it. He's not, he's out of the game at the moment. Probably sounds like he might be open to coming back into another job when
the witching hour comes. He mentioned the witching hour.
Yeah. So he might be, I don't know if it hasn't changed that much. Then there's no reason why he can't have the same sort of success somewhere that he's had with us. I mean, he managed to solve that problem, didn't he, at Turf Moor? So, and I'm not sure that really. I'm not sure that when he finally left, I don't think it was down to anything that he'd done. I think that just the club had sort of, let the squad stagnate to the point where we really couldn't compete anymore. I don't think that really was anything to do with him. And I was obviously it's been a couple of years now, but I still would like to have seen what he would have done with the money that Vincent Kompany spent.
There was a little pop at Kompany, wasn't it? I mean, he was at pains to say, I'm not criticising other managers, Vincent's a fantastic guy, and all the rest of it. But then when he was referring to that game where he came back to Turf Moor with Everton and they were 2-0 up, and he couldn't resist pointing out that we were fanning about with the back, and he told them, this lot are never, they're never going to score in a million years or something like that.
Yeah. Keep playing it short, lads.
Exactly. Put your foot on it. But he's right. He's right.
It was like
although he's probably the only person that ALK hasn't tried to re-sign. From
well, there's a nice segue to a re-signing this week. A bit of a surprise did come out of the blue, given that we're bombarded by transfer rumours everywhere, and then suddenly up pops Jakob Bruun Larsen back, having skipped a year, effectively. Didn't go down well when people did that on loan when Wout Weghorst went out, but if in his case he was on loan at Burnley, wasn't he? And then went back to Hoffenheim and to Stuttgart, and now he's back at Turf Moor and very happy to be with the club by all accounts. Are you happy to see him back, Woody?
Yes. I thought he was one of the few players of the Vincent Kompany Premier League era that equipped himself and came out of it looking better than he went into it. Obviously, he came to us needing to get a bit of fitness, but he's got something about him. He's got that touch, and he's got that initial, like Dash was saying about that initial burst. He seemed to have that little initial burst to be able to get away from a man, and he's a good player. Whether he cements a first team spot, that's another thing altogether. But yeah, I'm happy to see him back. I think he's a good sign. I was quite pleased to see it.
Concur, Justin?
I was a bit underwhelmed, to be honest. I was not just underwhelmed, but also quite surprised. I know they seem to be getting pretty good at sort of keeping these things under wraps before they reveal them. I mean, I did eventually remind myself that he was our top scorer in that Premier League season.
Yeah.
I mean, that's not much to speak of, given that we
had seven goals, I think. Right? Seven.
I think so.
Couple of beauties in there.
Yeah, he's got an eye for it, hasn't he? And I think he's a little bit different. I think at the moment, I mean, obviously we've not seen the new guys yet, but at the moment, I think we were probably thinking that Anthony and Edwards are going to be our starting wide players. And he's a little bit different to that. He's got a bit of pace about him, hasn't he? Which we might need if we're not going to be playing with the ball as much as we might have done last season. So, I don't know. I'm slightly concerned that we're getting in players who aren't really any better than the ones we've got. And I think he fits into that category. Although, like I say, he's got something a little bit different to what the others offer. My memories of that season are so shot with post-traumatic stress disorder that I don't really I don't really want any reminders of it. And that this is sort of that. But I mean, he's obviously happy to be here. He's obviously keen to get out on the pitch again for us. So if he does it on the pitch, then all good. But it seemed a really sort of strange left field kind of, because he was a company signing, wasn't he? And it's just a bit of an odd.
It's hard to imagine that Scott Parker has been watching film of that season and said, let's get Jakob Bruun Larsen back. I mean, as although he did, I think do pretty well. It looks to me, and this is just purely my speculation, that he's coming to us from a club that bought a player from us, Al Dakhil, last year. And I just wonder if this isn't a financially motivated one where perhaps there's an instalment due on Al Dakhil, and Stuttgart have said, look, we can send you that 3 or 4 million, or we can send you Jakob Bruun Larsen if you fancy him. And then maybe a conversation has gone from there.
Yeah.
Wild speculation on my part, but it does look like something that might be a bit of a coincidence, if not.
Yeah, it sounds plausible, doesn't it? That certainly given that we seem to have a bit of a liking for bringing players back and celebrating the fact that he's back in the building, he's back on the pitch. They love that sort of drama, don't they? So it makes perfect sense.
He might be off for Saudi next week, like Goodmanson was.
You could have just met him on a plane, and that's it.
We don't know what we paid for him, do we? But we might make a profit on him next week.
In terms of wingers, it does give us, you would think that him and Anthony compete for the left side slot, and then you've got Edwards and Chouani competing for the right slot, and then there's obviously still Benson on the books, although you sort of feel like he's probably going to go this summer, but he does give us some options there. Koleosho as well, of course, absolutely. So
and Trezor, we packed full of like tricky little buggers. Yeah.
And Bruun Larsen did play some games centrally, didn't he? Like as more of a 10 as well.
Yeah. It was like a slightly sharper version of JBG, wasn't it?
Yeah.
I know it's still early, but I'm a bit worried about the size of the squad. It keeps growing, but it doesn't get. We're not shipping any players out. I know that we've got plenty of time to do that, and there'll be a rash of loans go out, won't there, in that last week? But the squad's massive.
It's a beast, isn't it? What is it? Is it the 4th or 5th biggest in the Premier League? Did we have 39 before we signed JBL? Are we up to 40 or something?
Yeah.
It's a massive amount.
Yeah, that's a lot of money going out every week, isn't it?
Yeah. There's a lot of players when you look down that list who you think should be going out and you presume are going out, but they've got to be done, those deals, haven't they?
Yeah.
Dalquois is still there, isn't he?
Oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah.
One player who
is still there, who I'm glad he's still there, and great to see him back in action, is Jordan Beyer, who played in a 1-0 victory over Fleetwood at the training ground behind closed doors. Got 20 minutes by all accounts, was interviewed by the club and sounded very emotional after such a long time. I mean, it's over a year and a half, isn't it, I think, that Beyer's been out. I mean, it's going to take time, but, I mean, when you see somebody taking part in a game like that, when you've seen some of the silly rumours that have flown around about him, Justin, I mean, he felt a really positive bit of news that today, didn't it?
It's absolutely magnificent to see him back on the pitch. It's hard to imagine, isn't it, what you go through when you're out for so long. You see, I mean, we were in the Premier League, weren't we, when he got injured? We've been out of the Premier League and back into it now, and he's still not. It's such a long time. And to see him, I mean, it was 20 minutes. The first time he's pulled the shirt on and had some minutes on the pitch. And he was genuinely, he said he was, close to tears, and he actually he looked like he probably was in that little conversation here. And he seems a little bit overwhelmed, but I'm not surprised. But it's magnificent to see him. I mean, I think if there was a time, I think if you asked Burnley fans who our best player was, he would definitely be on the list at one point when when he was at his peak. And we have missed him. We certainly missed him that season. So to get to the point where there's a prospect of him getting back into the team and back in, doing what he does best, if he can, the determination and the willingness to work to get back to where he is now would suggest that he's probably got what it takes to go all the way and get back into the team. So I'm really looking forward to that day when he steps out again, because he was a very classy footballer, wasn't he? And one of the few players we've got who's kind of proven that he can pull it off in the Premier League. So all positive.
Yeah, I mean, Woody, he's still a young player in a lot of ways, isn't he? I can't remember his age exactly, but
is he 26?
Is he?
Yeah, I think that's what they said.
Yeah.
But, certainly of an age where you can recover from a setback like he's had. If he does and he's given time and he eases his way back into it, Beyer and Esteve together, if we can keep Esteve, I keep seeing that. Yeah. But that sounds to me like
it's, I don't know, it's almost a dream team, isn't it? You know what I mean? We'll be talking of that in, 30, 40 years' time. When we finish fourth with Beyer and Esteve at back,
Kyle Walker at right back and
you know what I mean?
Did they ever play together? I think he got injured before Esteve arrived, didn't he?
Yeah. He did.
Yeah. Esteve were a January loan, weren't they?
Yeah. Very likely they probably won't, but they would be now you've mentioned that back four, it sounds a little bit tasty, doesn't it?
Well, I mean, it would make, if we're looking at survival, you would want, if you're going to have one part of your team be really top level above the rest of it, you would want it to be the back four, wouldn't you? And of course, the question mark is the guy behind them all, James Trafford. These rumours of the move to Newcastle. I mean, Chris Borden, every day I think he wakes up and he logs onto the internet and he gets agitated about it. But these transfer
Newcastle have signed him again.
Yeah, these transfer sagas do drag on. But for me anyway, Justin, it's hard to imagine him still being at the club and Newcastle not signing him now. But...
Well, it does seem it's been rumbling on for a long time. They obviously don't want to pay what we think he's worth, do they? I think that's the bottom line of where we are with that. But I think the rumours are this week there was some suggestion that they finally sort of said, we're going to have to pay upwards of like, I think, was it 40 million? I think was the figure that I saw.
Yeah.
You can't turn down that kind of money, can you, for any of the players that we've got? Because that's, as we said very often in our last Premier League season, that's the model, isn't it? Buying James Trafford for 20 million and then selling him for 40 million is exactly what ALK said they were going to do. Buy young players, young talent, develop them a little bit, and then make a profit on them. So, and from his point of view, I suppose, it could be an exciting adventure for him, but I'm always amazed by this sort of stuff because the pressure that he's got an opportunity to be number one at Burnley for a season in the Premier League where he's perhaps not expected to be, the greatest goalkeeper in the world. He's perhaps expected to develop a little bit, but the pressure that you feel at Newcastle, it's going to be enormous. And his record in the Premier League isn't that great, is it? He didn't really thrive in that.
40 million, mate.
Yeah, he was brilliant that season. He was the only reason we didn't get a record low points total. No, but you know what I mean? It's just like I do genuinely feel that
he was dropped before the end of the season.
He's not a proven Premier League player, is he? Everyone says it about him that he's going to be England's number one, and that might all be true, but the evidence of my own eyes would suggest that he had a good season last season. He bounced back from what was a difficult first season with us, but he's not proving himself in the Premier League. So I don't know. It's a funny one. I would rather he stay, but I think we've got a pretty good record of picking up keepers, haven't we? So
well, that's the thing, isn't it? If you lost Esteve a week before the end of the window, that'd be a massive blow, because the chances of going out and signing a Champions League level defender like Esteve are really difficult and would cost an absolute fortune. But the chances of us finding a good, solid goalkeeper who can do a job in the Premier League aren't like that. I mean, personally, I'd sell Newcastle that the only deal is 35 million plus Nick Pope. That's what I'd have Pope back, because are they really signing James Trafford for 40 million to compete with Nick Pope, as they say? What do you make of it, Woody? He's sad. Would you be sad to see him go, or is it just too much to turn down, this kind of money?
I mean, I don't know. There are just some players that you always know are going. And I've always had it that James Trafford is going at some point, and I've always expected it. I expected it at the end of last season or whatever, and I think he's coming back into the Premier League as a far better keeper, having been in the Championship, and I think he's showed an enormous amount of kind of character to come back from that Premier League season and to do what he has done. And I thought one of the mini little pod documentary things where they were talking about, how they'd never seen someone as young as him with as much self-belief and confidence to be able to bring himself out of that again. There's no self-doubt there. He knew he was going to be able to do it, and he has shown that. And just pay, just pay for it. Stop dicking about. You know what I mean? If you're going to spunk 55 million on Elanga, then 40 million on Trafford's a bit of a bargain, isn't it? So
we have bought a keeper though already.
Yes.
Haven't we? So
yes.
Yeah,
a promising young goalkeeper.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, if a promising young keeper from Germany who may, for all we know, may be ready to step in and do that job.
Yeah.
So maybe he's been bought with that in mind. Who knows? We'll see. It's a tricky one, but I don't think Burnley fans will be absolutely gutted if he goes. I think most of us are probably fairly resigned to it happening at this stage. Moving on to fan engagement type matters. Rumours, and we should stress, I think these are pretty strong rumours about the changes to the cricket field and the corner, but should stress nothing has been said from the club yet, so I'm sure anyone who's going to be affected by it would hear from the club about it. But rumours at the moment that there might be a change to the cricket field stand with the home supporters and the away supporters swapping sides of the stand. And a new tunnel being created between the Bob Lord and the cricket field stand, an LED tunnel, so lots of bright, shiny lights for the team to run out of there, and some changes to how away fans would leave the ground and so on to make it easier in some respects. Presumably, this is an attempt to boost the atmosphere. Woody, what do you make of this one?
Well, either boost the atmosphere or it's more advertising revenue, isn't it? When Visit Detroit pops up on those LED screens as the cameras are on it. But I honestly don't know. I thought that some of the things that I'd heard or seen or whatever, were there seemed to be a lot of planning involved. What was it? The away fans supposedly parking outside down Brunshaw and whatnot. It seemed like a complete town rezoning in some respects, and then filtering them through like LED tunnels and whatnot.
No, the away fans aren't going through LED tunnels.
I'm just passing that just a tiny little bit.
It's all rumours. Nothing's confirmed.
Exactly.
An LED tunnel for away fans going to the coach.
They'll love it, But
you're right. An LED tunnel, I hadn't thought of that, but you're right. The TV cameras show the players every single game lining up in the tunnel waiting to come out, don't they? That is prime advertising spot. Yeah.
We visit Detroit on it.
Yeah.
What do you make of it, Justin?
I don't know. I mean, I think we've long sort of advocated for something to be done to generate, to identify a part of the stadium that's where the mental people who want to make a massive racket go, that we haven't had since the Longside was demolished, have we? We haven't had that place where the people start. The cricket field stand has become almost that sort of thing. I don't know how swapping the two zones over will impact that. I mean, them being close to the Bob Lord stand would probably
it's an interesting dynamic, that, isn't it?
Than...
Exactly.
Rather energetic behaviour sometimes against the.
So my feeling is it's probably more to do with. I think it's probably more to do with moving the tunnel. I think they probably want the tunnel on that side of that stand, because all the cameras are in the north stand, so you get a better view of the players when they come out from on TV. I think it's probably more to do with that, moving those, and then operationally on match day, it's perhaps a little bit easier to isolate the away fans, because they'll all filter out down the side of the cricket club, down that little sort of street.
That makes sense, doesn't it?
It kind of does, It kind of does make sense. But I don't know how it's going to impact on the atmosphere inside the stadium. I think an expansion of that safe standing thing throughout the cricket field stand would do a better job of that. But I do think they're moving the fans because they want to move the tunnel, and they want to move the tunnel because they want to get it on TV more. That's why it's an LED tunnel, isn't it? I'm interested to see what that's going to be. I can't actually picture it in my mind, but it's going to be just panels on the outside of the tunnel with stuff.
I mean, if I look at, I hate to mention the Club World Cup again, but FIFA did use an LED style tunnel. Dyche was having nothing to do with it, was it? but the setup they've had for the FIFA World Cup, and they've only used like FIFA images and logos of the competition, but it's panels down the side, creating this light show almost as they come out as well. So it's a bit more sort of razzmatazz around it. But I would imagine it could be very easy for advertising, as Woody said. I hadn't thought about that, but it makes total sense. I mean, the dynamic change would be like the funny side of it is the rather energetic young lads from the cricket field stand being next to the tartan rugs and flasks brigade in the Bob Lord stand. But on the other side, you get the away fans making a lot of noise right next to the long side, where there is, especially in that corner of the long side, there's always been the sort of makings perhaps of a little bit of an end or a noise or a boys area of some sort. You wonder how the long side stand will react to having the away fans a bit closer to them, because obviously the Bob Lord stand never really did it? But that could change it, no?
I think so, yeah. That splitting up that sort of corner, which is like the place where everybody... But I mean, I've always thought that the away section, I mean, I know away fans generally are noisier than the home fans, but they did seem to be disproportionately noisy. And I just wonder whether there might be something to do with the acoustics in the ground that makes that bit a little bit better. I don't know whether the club's done any research into that, whether that's the best place for the noise to be generated from or not. It could, I mean, it's probably just the fact that they do make more noise, the away fans, but they do make. There has been some games where, you look around and you think that's an impressive racket coming from that corner. So maybe that's played a part in it as well. I don't know. It's all a bit, it's all a bit kind of like ALK classic, isn't it? Where can we put some more LED screens to show more stuff? I mean, to be fair, I think it's had an impact. I think the stuff that they've done inside the ground has improved things, But
look and feel is better, isn't it?
The look and feel it feels like a more modern sort of stadium, doesn't it? With more, but I mean, there's loads. I mean, I said this privately between us. There's loads more that they could do to make to make the experience of the match day better. I mean, the concourses underneath the stand where I sit are just not big enough to take the volume of people who are in there on a match day, especially, you know, in the Premier League where it's just a sellout every week. You know, you basically can't get down, get in the toilet, get yourself a pie and a pint, drink it, get back up. You just can't do it because there's not enough space. So the biggest thing for me is changing that somehow, trying to find some more. I think it was Gravesy who said he felt like when they built those stands there was some sort of optional add-on where they could extend that out over that car park at the back of that north stand but I don't know if that's true, but those sorts of things really matter to the fans because you know that's you want to do that stuff at half time, don't you? I tend to just stay in my seat at half time, even though I can't have a conversation with the person standing next to me, because it's just not worth it. You just can't. You know, you miss the kickoff if you try and do all the stuff that you really want to do at half time. So I'd rather they sort of focus on that sort of thing than, you know, just messing around at the edges. I know that's there's a financial impact to that, but you know, that would make the match day loads better. I just remembered what we should say is that this change is not due to come in till quite a way into the season, isn't it? I think the Leeds game is the first home game where they're planning to do this.
Is it?
So the rumours say, and that's like October or somewhere, isn't it? So
rather detailed rumours these, aren't they?
Yeah,
it has to be said.
Honestly,
we seem to know a lot about
up
this.
plans before.
But I didn't know that, actually. I hadn't picked that up. The other big change, though, that I must admit, for me, gets an absolute massive thumbs up and almost wipes away any criticism I've ever had of ALK is Hafner's pies arriving to Rumours. Another rumour, yet to be confirmed, but
Yes.
But would it? I mean, I know you don't get easy access to pies of any kind, but apart from Mom's apple pie. But
you'd be surprised.
Yeah. But trust us on this one. Hafner's, you've had a Hafner's pie in your past, haven't you?
Yeah, of course I have. Yeah, I think. In fact, I'm going to go out on a limb and say I can get him over. We can get him over here.
Can we?
Really?
That's another room.
This has got to be looked into. But
I'm actually genuinely trying to get Hafner's to send us some over, you know, but we shall see. We can get them ported over.
For this podcast.
Exactly, aren't they just?
Yeah.
Perfect.
But Justin, I mean, Holland's pies have been they've gone downhill over the years, I think.
Well, we need Greaves here, don't we? He's the pie aficionado on this. I mean, when they said Hafner's pies are coming out, I was like, is that not what we have now? I don't really know.
Put it this way. Greavesy stocks Hafner's pies in his bar in Todmorden.
Right. Say no more.
There we go.
Yeah. Well, anything they can do on that score, I mean, are they easier to heat up so that they can be ready like before the start of the game?
No, they're just delicious. They're just really good.
But how many pies do you need?
Oh, I don't know, honestly.
I mean, we're getting into logistics now, but
yeah, the number of games I've been to where you go for it, you get there at like 2:30 or whatever, or it's rarely 2:30 these days, is it? And you go and you want to get your pie ready to keep in your pocket so it's like at an edible temperature by half time, and they're never ready. They're never ready at that point. And there's always like a 2 or 3 sort of really frantic looking people at the back of the kitchen with those thermometers pushing them into the pies and then slamming the oven door shut. You know, you just think, come on, I mean, the reason we have pies, it's not very sophisticated fare, is it? What does it need? It needs to reach the right temperature, and that's it. They should be able to organise to get it ready in time.
Yeah.
I'm just on the website now. I didn't know they did a pork and black pudding.
Oh yeah, I think that's I think that's what Greavesy does have on his menu.
Is it?
He's gone down the pork pie route. Yeah, I don't think he has a warmer. I think he has a. Although I must admit, I watched. There's an unbelievable episode of Rate My Takeaway. You know that big bloke from Yorkshire who goes around. Yeah, his latest one. He's gone to Warrington to this old school bakery, and it's a pie shop, but they do like sort of trendy sort of lamb and mint type pies and stuff like that,
Trendy pies.
And I have never seen a bloke. He's a big fella, and I can't remember his name, but you know what I'm talking about.
Yeah.
And I have never seen him. He was basically orgasmic with every bite of And you've got to watch that one. We'll try and link to it somewhere, but it's absolutely brilliant. And what I'll say about Hafner's is, if people haven't tried Hafner's, they better be the official pie at Burnley after all this. But what
if they're not, they can be official, pie.
It's a butcher's pie rather than a baker's shop pie. It's a butcher's pie.
That is the nice thing about this. This is like, a proper community butcher, isn't it?
Yeah, and it's a Burnley. It's a Burnley.
Exactly.
And they've recently, I think, changed ownership or been bought, so they've got a bigger capacity, which I think is why this rumour, founded or unfounded, has circulated that because they've got a bigger capacity, they might be able to do it. We might be completely wrong on it. You can trust what we say about transfer rumours in the Bundesliga, but you can't. we're out on a limb with this pie stuff. But
exactly.
Brilliant. Well, will that do us? I think that'll do us for.
I think so.
Another episode.
I'm fucking starving now. I'm looking at this Hafner's pies menu. They're only £2.30 as well.
Funnily enough, Mrs. Evans is doing Jamie Oliver's chicken and leek, and
they're £2.30 now, Woody. But once the tariffs hit, they'll be at least twice that.
Yeah.
Is there a tariff on pies? I don't know.
Well, you won't be getting your black pudding from over here, will you?
I think Keir negotiated that in his wonderful trade deal, didn't he?
Is it big, relatively beautiful?
Big, beautiful pies.
You'll have to sneak some back in your suitcase when next time you're over.
Jolly good. Right, we'll be back again soon. But until then, enjoy the rumours, enjoy the summer, and up the clarets.
And enjoy your pies.
Enjoy your pies always.